हरे कृष्णा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणाम्। हरे कृष्णा। So I welcome all of you to this discussion on Canto 8, Chapter 5. So firstly, I would want to convey my deep gratitude to all of you for your very enthusiastic participation. We have seen Canto 8 up to Chapter 4, and we have completed the Gajendra Moksha section, and a couple of days we had discussion on few questions. Now let us move on to Chapter 5, titled The Demigods Appeal to the Lord for Protection. So what are the contents of this chapter? The description of the 5th and the 6th Manvantras by Shukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit's inquiry about the Samudra Manthan Leela, and how the defeated demigods approach Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma's prayer unto the Supreme Lord. So, when we started this canto, we have heard in detail about the reign of the first Manu. And then Parikshit Maharaj asks Shukadeva Goswami to describe the Supreme Lord's pastimes in other Manvantras. So Shukadeva Goswami describes 6 types of main persons in each of the 14 Manvantras, past, present and future. That is, in the past Manvantras and the present Manvantara and in the future Manvantras, who are the 6 types of main persons. And then Shukadeva Goswami elaborates on selected pastimes of the Lord in some Manvantras as per the request of Parikshit Maharaj. So Gajendra Moksham was one such pastime of the Supreme Lord which happened in the 4th Manvantara, Tamasa Manvantara. So Shukadeva Goswami, he mentioned the 6 types of personalities in the 4 Manvantaras. And he informed Parikshit Maharaj that in the 4th Manvantara, Lord Hari protected Gajendra, the king of elephants. And now Shukadeva Goswami continues to describe the later Manvantaras. Shri Sukha Uvacha Rajan Uditam etatte Hare Karmaganashanam Gajendra Mokshanam Punyam Raivatam Tvantaram Shruno. So Shukadeva Goswami says, Rajan Uditam etatte Hare Karmaga Nashanam. O king, I have described to you the pastime of Gajendra Moksham, which is the most pious to hear. By hearing such activities of the Lord, one can be freed from all sinful reactions. So the Supreme Lord very mercifully creates this whole material creation in order to facilitate the desires of the rebellious souls. And again, he incarnates every now and then in different kalpas, in different manvantaras, only in order to perform wonderful pastimes so that the conditioned souls like us can get attracted to those pastimes. When we are speaking about the Lord, we are not speaking about an ordinary person like you and me. Activities of ordinary persons are not at all, how long can you hear the activities of normal persons or normal personalities? How many times can you study the biography of a normal man or an autobiography of a normal man? Can you study it beyond a certain limit? One time, two times, even second time also you will not be able to read it or study it. Whereas the pastimes of the Supreme Lord can be relished and studied again and again, which means the Supreme Lord is not like a person like you and me. Because Supreme Lord is not like a person between you and me. Because Supreme Lord is beyond the three modes. He is beyond this material world. He is the most supreme person. So that is why those activities are always very transcendental to hear. And by hearing such activities of the Lord, one actually is freed from all sinful reactions. Rajanuditam etatte hare karmaga nasanam. What happens? Karmaga nasanam. All this bad karma, it actually gets completely destroyed by hearing the activities of the Lord. That is the very reason why Lord creates this material world, and time and again he comes into this material world, into the material universe, in different universes. He comes because the main reason is in order to perform pastimes and to attract the conditioned souls to him. Because the conditioned souls are eternal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. So now Shukadeva Goswami says, by hearing such activities of the Lord, one can be freed from all sinful reactions. Because Lord is the supreme transcendental person. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So my birth and activities, janma karma cha me divyam. Divyam means they are not ordinary. They are transcendental. So janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha. Such a person who understands me in truth. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. Such a person does not have to take punarjanma again. When one understands the activities of the Lord, when one participates in hearing the activities of the Lord, when one participates in chanting the holy names of the Lord, then such a person need not take birth again in this material world. So, this is the effect of hearing the pastimes of the Lord. By hearing the activities of the Lord, one can be freed from all sinful reactions. Tavakathamritam tapta jivanam kavipiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam srimadatatam bhumi grinyanti ye bhuridarjana. The gopis sing the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. Tavakathamritam. Your katha is amritam. Your activities and your pastimes are amritam. Tapta jivanam. Kavipiriditam kalmashapaham. It destroys all the kalmasha. Shravana mangalam. So it is very, very auspicious to hear. Panchamoraivato nama manustamasa sodaraha balivindyada yastasya sutarjuna purvakaha. The brother of Tamasa Manu was the fifth Manu named Raivata Manu. His sons were headed by Arjuna, Bali and Vindhya. This Arjuna is different. The brother of Tamasa Manu. Who was Raivata Manu? He was the brother of Tamasa Manu. And his sons were headed by Arjuna, Bali and Vindhya. Those were his elder sons. Vibhur Indra Suragana Rajan Bhutarayadayaha Hiranyaroma Vedashira Urdhva Bahvadayodvijaha. O king, in the millennium of Raivatamanu, the king of heaven was known as Vibhu. Among the demigods were the Bhutarayas, and among the 7 Brahmanas who occupied the 7 planets were Hiranyaroma, Vedashira, and Urdhva Bahu. Patni Vikuntha Subrasya Vaikuntai Surasattamai Tayo Swakalaya Jajne Vaikunto Bhagavan Swayam. From the combination of Subra and his wife Vikuntha, sorry, the spelling is mentioned wrongly here, I have to correct it. Vikuntha, there appeared the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is the son of Vikuntha, along with demigods who were his personal plenary expansions. Vaikunta Kalpito Yena Loko Loka Namaskritaha Ramaya Pratyamanena Devya Tatpriya Kamyaya. Just to please the goddess of fortune, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikuntha, at her request, created another Vaikuntha planet which is worshipped by everyone. So, Rama is the goddess of fortune. Vaikunta Kalpito Yena Loko Loka Namaskrita Ramaya Prarthyamanena Devya Tat Priya Kamyaya. So, he created another planet called as Vaikuntha just for to please the goddess of fortune. So, we have to understand. Different acharyas have written different commentaries regarding this. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he remarks that this Vaikuntha planet, like Srimad Bhagavatam, appears and is born or created, and is said to be born or created. But if you see in another sense, both Srimad Bhagavatam and Vaikuntha eternally exist beyond all the material creation. So, how can we understand this? Because as described in the 2nd canto, Lord Brahma also saw Vaikuntha before the creation of this universe. So different acharyas give different commentaries. Veeraragha Acharya says that this Vaikuntha is actually is a part of this material world. He says it is situated above the Loka Loka mountain. What is Loka Loka mountain? We will study in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this planet is worshipped by everyone. Tasyanubhava katito gunascha paramodaya bhauman renun savimame yo vishnor varnayed gunan. Tasyanubhava katito gunascha paramodaya bhauman renun savimame yo vishnor varnayed gunan. So, although the great activities and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's various incarnations are wonderfully described, sometimes you are unable to understand them. Yet, everything is possible for Lord Vishnu. For example, we can't even understand. Different acharyas are giving different commentaries. So, therefore, everything is possible for Lord Vishnu. If one could count the atoms of the universe, then he could count the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But no one can count the atoms of the universe. So therefore, no one can count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So therefore, it is mentioned here. It's a very beautiful verse. Although the great activities and the transcendental qualities of Supreme Lord's various incarnations are described, we are unable to understand them because it is beyond our logic and reasoning. How the Lord very, very wonderfully incarnates, how he does very, very wonderful pastimes with his devotees. These things, many times we are not able to understand them. We fail to understand how did God create the Vaikuntha. And some Acharya is saying that it is actually a planet of this material world. Some Acharya is giving some other explanation for this. How to understand this? The thing is, we will not be able to understand them. Because everything is possible for Lord Vishnu. Panthastu koti shatavat svaratam pragamyo vayoradapi manaso munipungavanam. It is said in Brahma Samhita. So it is very, very Supreme Lord is extremely inconceivable. Even the great Munis, Pantastu Koti Shatavat Svarasam Pragamyo, Vayoradapi Manaso Munipungavanam. So even great Munis try to speculate with their mind, trying to with their mind faster than the wind. Still they will not be able to understand the Supreme Lord. So it is very, very difficult. We are unable to understand the Supreme Lord sometimes. Yet, just because we are not able to understand, one must not limit the Supreme Lord. There is a very good example. There is a good small story in which Srila Prabhupada always narrates. The story of frog in a well. Now, you know what is the frog in a well? Frog in a well, what did it do? Somebody came to the frog. The frog was always in the well only. Someone came and asked the frog, what is the size of the... No, someone came and told something to the frog about the Atlantic Ocean. Then you know what did the frog ask? Oh, Atlantic Ocean? Is it bigger than this well? This frog was in a small well actually. All that it knew was only what was there in this well. It did not know anything beyond what is there in the well. So when someone came and asked the frog, you know, about the Atlantic Ocean, when they came and told the frog about the Atlantic Ocean, is it? There is a place called Atlantic Ocean. Is it bigger than this well? That is the reply which actually the frog gave. No, then this person told, no, it's very, very big. Oh, is it? Is it as big as this well? That was the frog's understanding. And then the person told, no, it's very, very huge. Can we compare an Atlantic Ocean and a well? Absolutely not. And now the frog again said, okay, is it little bigger than this well? So therefore, the Supreme Lord is like that. We are like frogs in the well. We are in this material world. This material world is only 1/4 of the part of the Supreme Lord's creation. And we are put in this jail because we rebelled against the Supreme Lord. We rebelled against the Supreme Lord. That is why we are put in this jail. To facilitate our desire to enjoy separately from the Lord. And in the jail, there are so many limitations. And we have been in this jail, not now. For time, since time immemorial, we have been in this jail. So therefore, we do not know what is the Supreme Lord. Although we have some idea of eternality, because that is our constitutional position as we discussed in our previous session, but we do not know. We cannot understand because we are very, 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 very so extremely limited and so extremely insignificant. We are just like the frog in the well, and the Supreme Lord and his pastimes are like a Pacific or an Atlantic Ocean. So how can we understand the Supreme Lord? But it does not mean that just because we are not able to understand, just because we are frogs in the well, it does not mean that there is no Atlantic Ocean. Right? Just because we are the frog in the well, it does not mean that there is no Atlantic Ocean. So therefore, we must know that we are frogs in the well. So therefore, if you want to understand the Atlantic Ocean, we must be humble and submissive, not rebellious. At least we should be submissive towards the acharyas, the guru, and the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We must be submissive. We should theoretically accept it. And we must practice whatever is prescribed for us in the form of sadhana bhakti. So, can anyone count the number of atoms of the universe? It is said here that Bhauman Renunsa Vimame Yo Vishnor Varnayet Punan. How can one count the qualities of the Supreme Lord? If one could count the atoms of the universe, how many atoms are there in this universe? Can anyone count? Nobody can count the number of atoms in this universe. So therefore, if he could count the atoms of the universe, then he could count the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shukadeva Goswami says. But no one can count the atoms of the universe, nor can anyone count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So therefore, we must understand that we are very, very limited. We just have to follow the instructions given by our acharyas, instructions given by our guru, so that Lord, if he is pleased with us, he may reveal some of these pastimes and some of these activities and qualities to us. Otherwise, there is no possibility of any understanding. Unless the Lord is pleased, unless the Lord reveals. And when will the Lord be pleased and when will the Lord reveal? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadan nagati kutopi, dhyayan stuvam stasya yashastri sandhyam vande guru sri charanarvindam. The Lord will reveal himself when the Guru is pleased with us. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur sings in this Guru Ashtakam. Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. If one does not please the spiritual master, there is no gati for that person. So therefore, no one can count the atoms of the universe. Therefore, no one can understand no one can count the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So, for example, we can have one example here. Lord's personal bodyguards, Jaya and Vijaya, they became demons or the Daityas, having been cursed by the 4 Kumaras. And Jaya as Hiranyaksha and Vijaya as Hiranyakashipu. Especially Jaya as Hiranyaksha had to fight with Varahadeva during the first Manvantara, Swayambhu Manvantara. But the same Varahadeva is also mentioned in regard to the Raivata Manvantara. Jaya or Hiranyaksha had to fight with Varahadeva during the first Manvantara. But same Varahadeva is also mentioned in the Raivata Manvantara. So how to understand this? Where is Swayambhu Manvantara? That is the first Manvantara. That means one Manvantara means 71 Divya Yugas. And where is the Raivata Manvantara? That is the last, that is the 5th Manvantara. And between one Manvantara and other Manvantara, there are how many Yugas? How many Divya Yugas? 71 Divya Yugas constitute of one Manvantara. So therefore 71 into 5. What is 71 into 5? 75 is 350. 355. 355 Divya Yugas. After that, the same Varahadeva is mentioned. Now someone can ask, how come Varahadeva was there in Swayambhu Manvantara as well as in the Raivata Manvantara? Why somebody asks like this? Because we live only for a few years, right? We think, the Lord is also like us. Or maybe little powerful than us. No. The Lord is completely transcendental. We cannot understand the Lord. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashrita. We cannot understand the Supreme Lord. So, it is very, very difficult to understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. One must hear with faith and one must actually follow the rules and regulations of devotional service as given by the acharyas. Then Lord will actually reveal himself to whatever extent he is pleased with us. But one cannot understand these extremely transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord. How come Varahadeva, who was described in Swayambhu Manvantara, how come he is present in the Raivata Manvantara also? So with our logic, we cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Who can understand the Supreme Lord? Bhaktyamam abhijanati yaman yaschashmi tattvataha. Only by becoming a devotee of the Lord, we can understand the Lord. To some extent. Not by our logic. Our logic literally fails here because we are conditioned. We have 4 defects. What are the 4 defects? We have imperfect senses. We are always in illusion. And because we are always in illusion, because we are having imperfect senses, we are always in illusion. Because we are always in illusion, we commit mistakes. And because we commit mistakes, we do not want to expose those mistakes, we cheat. So these 4 are the 4 defects of the conditioned soul. So all the logic which you use is actually mixed with these defects. Conditioned soul has imperfect senses. He is always in illusion. And he always makes mistakes. And what is the 4th one? He always has this cheating tendency, cheating propensity. So how can one understand with one's logic, with mundane logic? Is Lord such a cheap person that just by our logic we can understand something? No. See, even when a very big leader in a country, he takes certain decision, we will not be able to understand why the leader took that decision, right? We are very, very small. But in front of the Lord, even the big leader like the Prime Minister is also very, 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 very small person. Then how can we understand how the Lord is actually dealing? So therefore, one must not speculate. So therefore, according to some authorities, there are two Varahas. But according to some other authorities, the same Varaha who appeared during the Swayambhu Manvantara, he stayed in the water until that of Raivata Manvantara. He stayed in the water, in the Garbhodaka ocean. That is what it is said by some other acharyas. So therefore, what is the conclusion here? What is the conclusion? Everything is possible. That is the conclusion. Because he is the Supreme Lord. He is not one among us. For us, very, very few things are possible. But for the Supreme Lord, everything is possible. He is the Sarva Karana Karanam. So if one could count the atoms within the universe, one could count the qualities of Lord Vishnu. So the conclusion is, no one can count the qualities of the Supreme Lord. So the only way to please the Lord is by the process of hearing, chanting, and following the rules and regulations as prescribed by our acharyas. Then the Lord gradually reveals little bit to us to the extent they are sincere. Chashtascha chakshusha putra chakshuso nama vai manuhu puru purusha tudyumna pramukhat chakshusatmaja. The son of Chakshu, known as Chakshusa, was the sixth Manu. He had many sons headed by Puru, Purusha, and Sudyumna. So it is said about the Chakshusa mantra here. The son of Chakshu, known as Chakshusa, was the sixth Manu. And Indro mantra drumastatra deva apyadayo ganaha munayastatra vairajan havishmad virakadayaha. During the reign of Chakshusa Manu, the king of heaven, known as Mantradruma, among the demigods were the Apyas, and among the great sages were Havishman and Viraka. Tatrapi deva sambhutyam vairajasya bhavat sutaha ajito nama bhagavan amshena jagatapati. In the sixth manvantara, the Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his partial expansion. He was begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife Devasambhuti, and his name was Ajita. So in the fourth manvantara, Lord Hari appeared, and in the sixth manvantara, Ajita was begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife Devasambhuti. Vayodim yena nirmatya suranam sadita sudha brahmamamom vasidrita kurma rupena mandaraha. So what did Ajita do? By churning the ocean of milk, Ajita, the incarnation of the Lord in the Chakshusa Manvantara, produced nectar for the demigods. Then he took the form of a tortoise. See, the Lord is taking the form of a tortoise here. Kurma. He moved here and there, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Mandara. Pralaya payodhi jale dritavanasi vedam vihitavahitra charitra makedam keshavadrita meena sharira jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare. In this verse, Jayadeva Goswami describes about the Matsya avatar, Meena Sharira. Then Kshitiriha Vipulatare Tishtati Tava Preshte Dharani Dharana Kima Chakra Garishte Keshavadreta Kurma Sharira Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare. So he's saying about Kurma Sharira. The same Kurma is being described here. What Jayadev Goswami describes in his Gita Govindam. Sorry, Dashavatara Stotra. So, by churning the ocean of milk, Ajita produced nectar for the demigod, and he took the form of a tortoise. He moved here and there, carrying on his back the great mountain known as the Mandara Parvata. So these are the main personalities in the fifth and the sixth Manvantras. The fifth Manvantara, that is the Raivata Manvantara. Who was Raivata Manu? He was the son of Priyavrata. And who were the demigods? Bhutarayas. And who are the Manuputras? We have seen Arjuna, Bali, and Vindhya. They were headed by Arjuna, Bali, and Vindhya. And who was the Indra? See, we have always seen that Indra is not a person. Indra is a post. Different persons occupy that post. So here, Vibhu was the Indra in Raivata Manvantara. And who are the 7 chief sages? Hiranyaroma, Vedashira, Urdhva and others. See, every Manvantara has Saptarishis. This Manvantara also has Saptarishis. Who are they? Vishwamitra, Jamadagni, Bharadwaja, Gautama, Atri, Vasishta, Kashyapa. These 7 sages are the prominent, the Saptarishis in this Manvantara. In every Manvantara, the Saptarishis are different. So therefore, in Raivata Manvantara, there were different Saptarishis. And who was the Amshavatara and who was the Manvantaravatara? It was Vaikuntha, the son of Subra and Vikuntha. And what were the Lord's activities in the fifth Manvantara? He created a Vaikuntha planet. And similarly, now we are speaking about, we discussed about in the previous 2-3 verses about the Chakshusha Manvantara. And who are the principal demigods? Apyas. And who are the Manuputras? Puru, Purusha, and Sudyumna. Headed by Puru, Purusha, and Sudyumna. And who was the Indra? Mantra Dhruma was the Indra in the Chakshusha Manvantara. And who were the 7 sages? Havishman, Viraka, and others. And Amshavatara, Ajita, sorry. Let me correct it here itself. It's offensive to put the Lord's name incorrectly. So what were the Lord's activities? He churned the milk ocean. As Kurma, he carried Mount Mandara on his back. He became a tortoise. So Parikshit Maharaj says now, he inquires. Until now, Shukadeva Goswami was speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. Now Parikshit Maharaj says, Yata Bhagavata Brahman Matitakshira Sagaraha Yadartam Vayataschadrim Dadaram Bucharatmana Yathamritam Surai Praptam Kimchan Yat Abhavat Tataha Etad Bhagavata Karma Vadasva Paramadbhutam. So Parikshit Maharaj inquired, "Oh great Brahmana, Shukadeva Goswami, why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk?" He is very, very eager to hear. How did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he stay in the water as a tortoise and hold up the Mandara mountain? How did the demigods obtain the nectar? And what other things were produced from churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord. So, Parikshit Maharaj is very, very eager to hear about the Lord. Until now, Parikshit Maharaj has been hearing from the Lord. Sorry, from Shukadeva Goswami about the Lord. But he is not at all satisfied. He is very, very eager. He is more and more eager. He is more and more eager to hear. So therefore, he asked all these details. What were the 4 questions? Why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the milk ocean? Why did he churn? And how did he churn the milk ocean? That is, it refers to the activity of the Lord. Is it very easy to churn the ocean? Is churning the ocean like churning the buttermilk in our house? No. We can churn only the buttermilk, but the Supreme Lord has churned the milk ocean. If yes, how, why, and how? Parikshit Maharaj knows that he has churned. So he is very eager to know how and why did Lord perform this pastime. Why he performed this pastime of churning the milk ocean, and how did he churn the milk ocean? Next, why did he stay in the water as a tortoise and hold up the Mandara Parvata? How did the demigods obtain the nectar? And what were the other things that were produced from churning of the milk ocean? What were the other things which were produced? These were the questions. Tvaya sankatyamanena mahimna satvatam pate natitripyati me chittam suchiram tapatapitam. Parikshit Maharaj says, sorry, this is actually verse 11 and 12 both together. So he says, Tvaya sankatyamanena mahimna satvatam pate. He says, my heart, which is disturbed by the three conditions of material life, is not yet satiated with hearing you describe the glorious activities of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means Parikshit Maharaj is actually expressing his extreme eagerness. He's very, very eager. He's eager to hear more, hear more, hear more. That is why. Why is that? Because Shukadeva Goswami is not talking about an ordinary person. Shukadeva Goswami is actually speaking about the Supreme Lord, who is the master of devotees. Mahimna Satvatam Pate. Satvatam Pate means who is the master of devotees. Shri Suta Uvacha Samprishto Bhagavanevam Dvaipayana Sutodvicha Abhinandya Harer Viryam Apyachastam Prachakrame. So Suta Goswami says. Suta Goswami is actually reciting Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. And in that context, he mentions about Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So all this is all related discussions in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Suta Goswami says here, O learned Brahmanas, when Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Dvaipayana, the Vyasadeva, was thus questioned by the king, he congratulated the king and then endeavored to describe further the glories of the Supreme Lord. So we should understand here, Parikshit Maharaj, he was very, very eager to hear about the glories of the Supreme Lord. He said he is not at all satisfied, he is not at all satiated. The hearing, how much ever he hears, he wants to hear again. He wants to hear more. So what is the difference between satiation of material desires and satiation of spiritual desires? So when material desires are fulfilled, it leads to increase in material desires. But it also leads to frustration. Suppose you have some material desire. If it is fulfilled by material means, by the way, if it is fulfilled by material means, then it leads to increase in the desire. It is not that just because of our material desire. See, we have many desires to enjoy separately from the will of the Lord. If those desires, a conditioned soul, that is why he is in this material world. If those desires are actually fulfilled, are those desires going to increase or decrease? They are only going to increase. For example, there is a sex desire. What is the sex desire? It is nothing but the grossest form of material enjoyment. Because all the senses are engaged in gratification during the act of sex. So therefore, this desire, the sex desire, if you try to fulfill the sex desire, what happens is, does the sex desire increase or decrease? It only increases. Prahlad Maharaj compares the sex desire to like rubbing the itch. Just because it is itching, if you rub vigorously, it is going to itch even more. So one has to tolerate that. That is what Prahlad Maharaj says. So just to be by satisfying material desires by material means, material desires are not going to decrease. And then it is only going to increase more and more. It is not going to decrease. Yes, lust is like that. If you try to fulfill your lusty desire or the sex desire, what happens is it is only going to increase more and more. It is not going to decrease. And when it increases, only the frustration increases. But what is a spiritual desire? Even spiritual desire is also like that. But what happens when you try to, when your spiritual desires are fulfilled, you will get more spiritual desires. Because there is no end in serving the Supreme Lord. There is no end to serving the Supreme Lord. But the difference is, because spiritual desire is a desire, when you are having spiritual desires, you want to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord. Material desires means you are trying to satisfy your own senses. Material sense gratification means you are trying to satisfy your own senses. So therefore, your senses are very, very limited. How much can you enjoy and how long can you enjoy? But spiritual desires are completely opposite, because Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Krishna can enjoy unlimitedly. But our capacity to enjoy is also very, very small. Even if you are earning lakhs of rupees a month, can you eat more than 4 or 5 chapatis for dinner? You cannot eat. And if you try to eat more, say the chapati and curry or some sweet is very, very tasty. If you try to eat more and more just because it is giving some satisfaction to your tongue, your stomach will not cooperate. You will fall sick immediately. But spiritual desires, when you try to serve the Supreme Lord, the reciprocation which you receive from the Lord, your spiritual desire increases. And in spiritual desire, there is only bliss. There is no frustration. Otherwise, how all of us are able to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam continuously? Probably yesterday is the only day in which, we took a break in the last 2 months. So that is because I had some service at the temple. Now the lockdown is not there. So things are opening up. Things have opened up almost. We are going to have Rath Yatra also. So therefore, we had some service in the temple. Some senior devotee was coming. So therefore, I could not take the class yesterday. But otherwise, every day, although we do not have any qualification, although we have so many shortcomings and weaknesses, still we are getting that spiritual desire by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. That next day also we want to come and hear. So this is a very clear indication. If we cultivate spiritual desire, then our spiritual desires only increase. But when the spiritual desires increase, there is no frustration, there is only bliss. Because when we fulfill when we have spiritual desires, when we have desires to serve the Lord, we are serving the senses of the Lord. And He is the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Tevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So Bhakti means serving the senses of the Lord. So therefore, when Parikshit Maharaj is hearing about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, he is actually rendering the service of hearing. He is performing the devotional service of Shravanam. And he is actually pleasing the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his desire to hear, and he is hearing with a proper attitude towards the spiritual master. So therefore, his desire to hear is only increasing unlimitedly, and he is not frustrated with that desire. That desire will not cause frustration. The desire or the enthusiasm to attend the morning program, the desire to chant, the desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, if it is done properly, it only increases one's taste for these things. So when spiritual desires are fulfilled, the desires increase, but one is always blissful. So it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, Janma Guhyam Bhagavato Ya Etat Prayato Nara Sayam Pratar Grinan Bhaktya Dukkha Grama Vimuchyate. What does this mean? Whoever carefully recites this mysterious appearances of the Lord, Janma Guhyam Bhagavato Ya Etat Prayato Naraha, such a person who recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion. These are all very mysterious. Lord incarnating and Lord churning the milk ocean and the Lord taking the form, incarnating in the form of a tortoise and carrying the Mandara Parvata. All these are very inconceivable pastimes and appearances. But whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord, when Sayam Pratar Grinan Bhaktya, in the morning and in the evening, he gets relief from all miseries of life. Dukkha Grama Vimuchyate. Atehadanya Bhagavanta Ittam Yadvasudeve Khila Lokanathe Kurvanti Sarva Atmakamatma Bhavam Nayatra Bhuya Parivarta Ugraha. So only by making such inquiries one can be successful and perfectly cognizant. For such inquiries invoke ecstatic transcendental love unto the Supreme Lord, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee 100% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. only by making inquiries about the Lord, one can be successful and perfectly cognizant, because such inquiries invoke the transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead. So Parikshit Maharaj's inquiries are the relevant inquiries. Pariprashnena, they come under Pranipatena Pariprashnena. So he is the proprietor of all the universes. And these inquiries guarantee 100% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. They are not like corona vaccines. We do not know. They are saying even after you take the vaccine, you wear mask. Because we do not know the effectivity. Maybe effective, not that it is not at all effective, but one cannot guarantee. But by making such inquiries about the Lord, by hearing the pastimes of the Lord, by carefully reciting the pastimes, by hearing them with faith, that I am a frog in a well. So therefore, I cannot understand about the Atlantic Ocean unless some person very mercifully reveals to me. With that faith that the Lord is supreme and we are fallen. With that faith that the Lord is our supreme well-wisher and he has created this material world and he is incarnating only because he wants us to be attracted to him. And what is the result of being attracted to the Supreme Lord? Satan prasangan mamavirya samvido bhajanti hritkarna rasayana kata tajjoshanana tapavarkavatmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. When one becomes attached to the Supreme Lord by the process of hearing about the Supreme Lord's pastimes, one cultivates bhakti. And when one cultivates bhakti, he does not need to take birth in this material world where there is repetition of birth and death. So therefore, bhakti provides, when it is done under guidance. Bhakti, the process of devotional service, beginning with Shravanam and Kirtanam, when it is done under proper guidance, then it guarantees 100% immunity. Bhagavatam is guaranteeing 100% immunity from the repetition of birth and death. One does not need to take birth in this material world again if one takes to the process of bhakti. Okay. Let us end it here today. If there are any questions, we can take. I request all of you, kindly study these purports and kindly study at least the small books of Srila Prabhupada on a daily basis. Maybe for 15 or 20 minutes to begin with, or half an hour to begin with. But make it a practice to read every day.
Yes.
Only hearing will not be sufficient because one has to associate, one has to read Srila Prabhupada's purports and one has to study them very carefully and hear from realized souls. We are doing this exercise so that we all can read every day. That is the purpose of this exercise. Okay, if there are no questions, we will stop today. Let us continue tomorrow from verse 15 onwards. Thank you all for your time and your participation. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.